It is almost the new year, and people around the world like to ring it in with things other than just champagne. Some of these dishes are actually pretty surprising. Ringing in the new year with something like this is astounding. This soup smells so amazing, and I cooked with so many things for my first time. And some will test my skills in the kitchen, that's for sure. There's a lot of tension in the kitchen right now. I'm like really not good at rolling circles. This was a labor of, of great difficulty. So today we are looking at 5 New Year's dishes from 5 different countries to see what people are eating after the clock strikes 12.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I live in Florida in the United States, but my family is original from Mexico, and the New Year's dish I want to talk about today are buñuelos. Buñuelos are like a tortilla that's like fried and crispy, and it's tossed in cinnamon and sugar. They're really good. It has like a similar taste profile to churros, so if you like churros, I recommend buñuelos. My family typically makes them around New Year's Eve and Christmas time, kind of towards the end of the year. They symbolize good luck and new beginnings, so they're traditionally made around special events like Christmas and New Year's. My favorite thing about buñuelos are just like remembering that my family made them.
This recipe is telling me to keep working with these hands. I like that much more than working with spoons. I like eating with spoons, but I like working with my hands.
So on New Year's Eve, we start to make the dough, roll it out, and let it out to dry. And then once New Year's hits at 12, we fry them and have like a little snack.
I have to knead this for 5 to 6 minutes, and you think like, oh, 5 to 6 minutes isn't that long. But when you're kneading for 5 to 6 minutes, it's a little tiring. Although I have had 15 minutes on one of these recipes before, so I should count my lucky stars. It's not that long. I think I'm like 2 minutes in. 6 minutes later.
They bring back great memories of my childhood. I remember being young and like desperately wanting to help in the kitchen, and they wouldn't really let me help cooking and all that. So the thing that would make me do is roll out the buñuelo dough. So I definitely love them.
I'm making these a little bit smaller than typical ones because I cut the dough wrong, and that's what we're going with. They could be a lot bigger, but I also feel like this is an okay size for me to eat some fried bread. Should I make them bigger? Should I make them bigger? Okay, I'm gonna make them bigger. Okay, I made them bigger and I'm happy I made them bigger. They're big. I ran out of gas for my cooking stove, so we're moving over to the big stove. Yay! This is what my real stove looks like, everybody. Ta-da!
The New Year's to me symbolizes like a fresh start and looking back and reflecting on your actions and definitely changing and just being a new person. So definitely love that, and I definitely recommend you guys have buñuelos maybe once in a while as a nice snack too. They don't have to be reserved for special holidays. I definitely recommend. Thank you, and Feliz Año Nuevo a todos.
We're starting out with fried dough covered in cinnamon and sugar. Yum. Just gonna take the top one. They seem pretty crunchy. I feel like I'm at a county fair eating a funnel cake. Wow. Cinnamon sugar is such a beautiful blend. It's like, I was gonna say salt and pepper, but that's just 2 things that go together. It's like kissing and hugging. Just feels nice when the 2 come together. Okay. I'm not sure how crispy these should be. These have definitely a crumble factor to them, but the overall flavor is delicious. Also, my kitchen smells so good. I will say, I am not the best at using a rolling pin, and I'm definitely not the best at making circles. I'm like really not good at rolling circles. I had some super wonky shapes going on to that frying pan. It's like thick on the ends. However, at the end of the day, the circle shape does not affect the taste. So I think it's okay. Kneading the dough for 5 to 6 minutes ended up not being as difficult as I thought it would be. I know a lot of people have stand mixers and making dough is a lot easier that way. I do not have space for a stand mixer, and every time people are like, oh Beryl, get this, get that, all these kitchen tools. You guys don't understand. I live in New York City. My kitchen has no space. I don't have a microwave because I can't fit a microwave, let alone another type of blender, let alone a stand mixer. We're working with what we got, and those are my hands. Ringing in the new year with something like this is astounding. I would love to get a fresh one of these right after a little toast of champagne, passing out some fried foods covered up in cinnamon and sugar. Heck yeah, that's a good way to start the year. A good way to start it. Speaking of the new year to me always feels like a fresh start, and it's all about making some New Year's resolutions of what you want to see the following year for yourself. One of those resolutions might be therapy, and that's where BetterHelp comes in, the sponsor of today's episode. BetterHelp is an online therapy service that connects people like you and me to therapists. You'll go online and fill out a quiz that goes over what exactly you're looking to talk about. Typically, within 48 hours, you will be connected to a therapist. After talking to them, you might think, hey, this therapist isn't for me, and that's all right. You can switch therapists as many times as you want, because finding the right therapist is a lot like dating. You have to go through a few to find the one that feels best. There are many ways to talk with your therapist. You can do Zoom calls, you can do text, you can do chat, and they even have online journals to help you keep track of your feelings along the way. Starting therapy can be difficult. As somebody who goes to therapy 2 times a week, I know that it can be a big step, but it's also a step that helps you improve who you are. If in the new year, therapy seems like something you might want to explore, go to betterhelp.com/Beryl and you will get 10% off your first month.
Hello, my name is Pamella and I was raised and born in São Paulo, Brazil. And the dish I want to share with you today is called Pudim de Leite Condensado. In English, I think it's something like condensed milk and flan. It's a very traditional recipe in Brazil. It's on the table in many family celebrations. The same goes for restaurants and party menus. Even though Brazil is such a big country with many regional differences, I'm pretty sure that pudding is loved everywhere. It uses just few affordable ingredients like eggs, milk, condensed milk, and sugar. Pudding is a dessert that I really love because it's super creamy.
Once again, I am above the max line, and the last time that was also with a Brazilian cake, so I know what's gonna happen. It's gonna spill everywhere, but I'm doing it anyway. Oh my God, I still have to put 3 eggs in this. I just realized. Shoot. All right, I'm just doing it. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is gonna be a disaster. It's too full. I'm moving it into the big blender, which I think that this will work. This is, look at this. It's so to the top that it's no, we're moving it.
The caramel sauce makes it even more special. If I have a pudding in front of me, I will eat one slice and then another and another. It's addictive. It's usually made in a round mold like this, but recently in social media, I think that people are going crazy making big puddings in buckets.
Oh my God, look at this. Look at that. There's a max liquid fill line. And I'm just like right at it. I didn't even know that that existed. Oh.
Pudding is very common during New Year celebrations in Brazil. Usually a family or friends gathering, everyone brings a dish to share. So pudding is a go-to dessert because it's simple, delicious, and easy to make. And in many families, there is always someone who is famous by their special puddings.
So Leia taught me that the key to making good caramel is that when you put the sugar in the pot, you need to just not touch it. Leave it alone. Do not even look at it until it starts to turn brown. Well, no, you should look at it, but that's what Leia taught me, and it totally works.
I learned that from Bake Off.
She learned that from Bake Off.
Social media can even see families like having competitions to see who makes the best pudding, and the main challenge is molding the pudding perfectly without breaking it. Growing up, I used to celebrate New Year's with my family, which is very big in a city on the coast with a great pool party because it's summer in Brazil. But as I got older, we stopped doing those big family parties, and I felt a bit sad because during those holidays, because I really miss my family parties. But now I have 2 little daughters, and New Year's has a new meaning for me. My husband's family is very lively, so we celebrate at their house. And in a nearby city, my daughters love it so much. They even have their own plastic pink champagne flutes to toast with some sparkling juice, of course.
I don't have that much faith. I know that making flan is difficult, but I have followed this recipe to the letter. So here goes nothing.
I like that New Year's feels like a fresh start. It makes us reflect on the past year and think about how we can make the next one better.
It's time to flip it. And this can go one of 2 ways. It's either gonna slop everywhere or it's gonna stand up. Let's all just say that it's gonna stand up. There's a lot of tension in the kitchen right now. You can cut it with a knife. My heart is literally racing, actually. My heart is racing. Oh, I heard a sound. I heard a flop. Okay, I mean.
Hey, it's standing.
It's standing. I mean, it's not a total failure. She's not pretty. She's not pretty. But it might still taste good.
I think the dessert table for celebrations here is only complete with a good pudding. Make all your wishes come true in the year that's coming near. So much money in your pockets, so much health for all to share. For the singles looking love, may no hope be lost. And for married couples, I wish no fights, just peace and calm in life. Feliz Ano Novo, Happy New Year, and thank you for the opportunity.
I'm sorry. She ugly. This was hard to make. I think anybody would say this type of dessert is difficult and requires some skill. I think that the inside looks better than the outside, but really it's what it tastes like. That's what matters. It tastes great. Caramelly, really soft, condensed milky. I mean, I wouldn't want to necessarily put this out on a dessert table, but it still tastes really good. You can really taste the condensed milk. I would say this is definitely a sweet dessert, but it's still very light and fluffy. We ended up cooking it for like an hour and a half on my cooktop, which was longer than I thought we would need. I don't know what happened. Maybe I should have strained it before I put it into the mold. Maybe it was the amount of water that I cooked the pan in. It could be, there's a myriad of things that could have gone wrong. I just don't know. But the thing at the end of the day is that it tastes good. I quickly want to mention the artist behind me. She's a new artist on the show. Her name is Anna. She is an illustrator from Germany. You can learn more about her and all of her art on my website. Artists is linked at the top and you'll see her there. The caramel was actually pretty easy to make. At this point, I think I have officially learned how to make caramel. There are a couple of tricks, and if you know them, you will have great success, and that is to not touch the sugar. For as ugly as this is, I am enjoying it. You can taste the egginess. The egg gives it a lot of lightness. I have mad respect for people who make those beautiful looking pudims and also beautiful looking flans, because This was a labor of, of great difficulty. It was a labor.
Hi everyone, my name is Florin. I'm originally from Korea, but my family immigrated to Canada when I was a kid. So the dish that I wanted to introduce to you all today is called Tteokguk. Tteokguk translates to rice cake soup in English. As the name suggests, it's a soup with rice cakes in it.
I needed a handful of dried anchovies. This was the smallest size that we could get. If anybody has any recommendations for me of what else I can do with these, please let me know, because I don't want them to go to waste, but I also have no idea what to do with them.
Typically for tteokguk we use sliced up karetok. Karetok is a very simple, basic kind of rice cake. It's literally just rice that is steamed. But the rice cake itself doesn't really have any flavor, so it is the perfect vehicle for you to literally imbue any flavor you want.
It doesn't really smell like too much. This is interesting. I've never used it before.
In addition to the rice cakes, you can also add dumplings. That's a very popular topping, green onion, and eggs. We just drop in the raw egg into the soup while it's still cooking. And then when the egg is about halfway cooked through, we give it a stir to break it up. So the texture that you end up with is, if you've tried egg drop soup, it's pretty similar to that. I also just prefer the texture of the egg cooked that way.
I really love rice cakes. I love the texture. I've never had the soft disc type. I've always had the long hot dog shaped ones, but I've seen these on the internet a lot and they always look really good. I'm excited to try these in the soup.
So the soup, it has a very mild flavor. So some people like to make a broth out of beef, but my family doesn't eat meat, so we use a seafood-based broth instead, and that's also pretty common. We use dried anchovies and tashima, which is dried kelp. And that's a very standard broth for a lot of Korean soups.
In Florin's recipe, she included tuna extract, but she said that I could use fish sauce in its place, and since I have fish sauce, that's what I'm going to be using. And I also really love fish sauce. I think it's something that people are pro or against. I'm wondering how you all feel about fish sauce. I also love the smell of it, which also people are pro and against.
To season it, you can use soy sauce, you can use salt, but you can also use fish sauce as well. So my family uses tuna extract, and that adds an extra oomph to the flavor while adding that saltiness. And that is preferred over using just soy sauce, because if you use too much soy sauce, the soup can turn dark. This hot bowl of very mild flavor soup is perfect for winters, perfect for New Year's, and every New Year's I look forward to having that bowl of warm tteokguk whenever I wake up. That's kind of like the standard ritual for all Koreans. So yeah, we have written records of Koreans eating tteokguk going back hundreds of years, but the modern tradition for eating tteokguk comes from our age system in Korea. They changed it recently, but in the past, every Korean, instead of growing older on your birthday, as is custom internationally, Koreans, we all grew 1 year older together on New Year's each year. So we ate tteokguk to represent the act of growing a year older. Fun fact, the government changed the age system, I think it was last year, so now we go by the international custom of gaining age on your birthday, but eating tteokguk still has a significant symbolism for all Koreans. What I like about New Year's is being able to start a new journal. I'm really into journaling, so I really like that feeling of starting a fresh book, starting a fresh chapter in my life. Happy New Year, everyone. In Korean, we say 새해 복 많이 받으세요.
This soup smells so amazing, and I cooked with so many things for my first time. let's get a rice cake because I know I love those. Well, you can definitely taste the dried anchovies in the broth, but it's not a super fishy broth. They're very delicate. I want some of the egg now. It has the feeling of an egg drop soup, but then the chewiness of the rice cake adds so much dimension to it. If you have never had a rice cake, I highly, highly recommend you try them. I feel like it's something that almost everybody would like. They don't have a ton of flavor, but they are one of the best textured foods that I think you can have. Such a warm and filling dish to have on New Year's. I could definitely eat this whole bowl easily, no question. I want to just sip the broth. It's so yummy. I love that I've tried something brand new and found out that I love it.
Hello everyone, my name is Janna. I live in the city of Breda in the south of the Netherlands. For traditional New Year's Eve snack I want to share with you all today are Appelbeignets, or as my mother would like to say, Appelbeignets. In English, they're known as apple fritters. Appelbeignets are made with slices of apple dipped in a beer batter and fried until golden brown.
So I don't have an apple core, but I'm gonna use this core, which I use in my Palestinian carrot recipe. And it's kind of similar. I'm just gonna have to go around it in circles. I think this is gonna be easier than using a knife, but hindsight will be 20/20, so let's see.
This is super easy to make, and you can even change up some of the ingredients. Like if you don't have beer or you don't want to use it, you can use a fizzy drink of choice instead. Usually, if we didn't have beer, we would use 7-Up. I really like these because they're very juicy and sweet. It goes together great with a glass of champagne right around midnight.
Look at my cool bottle opener. Wow.
If you core the apple with an apple core, you're left with a round-shaped hole in the middle of your apple slice. You can put the back of a wooden spoon through it to fish them out of the beer batter. I always loved doing that as a kid. These fritters are not something every household makes.
Smells like a pub.
In fact, some don't even call them appelbeignets, but will know them as appelflappen. But in my opinion, those are two totally different things. Telling you all about this snack makes me realize I really need to teach my son this recipe so he can carry on the family tradition. My mom and I always used to make appelbeignets together. About 1 hour before midnight, he would disappear into the kitchen and make these delicious apple fritters. Mom never was much of a baker, but the one thing we could always count on were these fritters right before midnight. She would top them off with some powdered sugar, and they're absolutely best right out of the fryer, though you must be very careful not to burn your mouth. My favorite thing about New Year's is nibbling away on some great snacks with my family and watching fireworks. I think you should really give this snack a try because it's super easy and doesn't require a whole lot of weird ingredients. I think most people will have everything at home already. And who doesn't like a fried snack? Gelukkig nieuwjaar allemaal!
I have my plate of apple donuts. They didn't rise the way I thought they would, and I realized that's because this recipe did not include baking soda. So if you want fluffier ones, you could put baking soda in these, but they look really cute. They taste really good. From frying them for so long, the apple inside is really soft. It reminds me of the pieces of apple that you get in a chunky applesauce. And the batter on the outside is sweet, but not too sweet. I'm not tasting the Heineken beer at all, but there's a lightness to it. Even though it looks kind of crunchy, it's not crunchy in the way that you would think like that kind of crunchy. It's just got like a nice, soft, but slightly crunchy batter to it. I was surprised to find out that I did not own an apple corer. I feel like I own a lot of tools at this point in my cooking journey, and the fact that I didn't have an apple corer surprised me, but I was able to make it work. What a fun treat for ringing in 2025, an apple beignet. It's definitely hitting the spot. Yep.
Hello Beryl and friends, I am Christina from Austria. Today I want to talk about Gulaschsuppe, as we call it in Austria. It would be Gulaschsuppe in English, is a kind of goulash, traditionally a Hungarian dish, but we made it our own. Goulash soup is a little more brothy than traditional goulash. You have meat, you have vegetables, potatoes, and a lot of people like to put cut up Frankfurter hot dog sausages inside.
So I have these 2 little potatoes, which I was gonna use, but I also bought a big potato. I feel like I want this goulash to be heavier on the potato because yum. And when I put these together, I think I'm actually gonna go with the big potato because potato is so good, right? We all love potatoes. I did a mashed potato episode, and I've actually done a potato episode. If you, like me, love potatoes.
Here around in Europe, it's very comforting, it's warm, it's a little bit spicy, and yes, it brings back a lot of memories because I think nearly everybody in Austria at some point had a steaming hot bowl of Gulaschsuppe at midnight or after midnight, New Year's Eve.
Christina said that you use Frankfurters in this episode, and my love for hot dogs knows no bounds. It is one of my all-time favorite foods. I could eat 3 of them, buns and all. I did a hot dog toppings episode where I just truly had the time of my life, and so I'm excited to add some of these to my goulash.
New Year's in Austria, as we call it, Silvesternacht. It is very common to have a celebration with family and friends.
There are a couple recipes to make goulash. I'm using an Instapot because it's going to go a lot faster. I think the Instapot is a magic device that if you don't have one, I would highly recommend investing in one. I honestly feel like I use mine once a week, truly.
Usually we start the evening with something like a buffet or raclette or even fondue. And then at midnight it's time for the big celebrations. And of course in Austria we also have the fireworks. After we spent about half an hour outside watching the fireworks, sometimes drink something with our neighbors. We come inside and then of course we are cold. And what's better than a bowl of steaming hot soup? We like it because it warms our belly after being outside, and also if you have to travel home after the celebration, you have something to line your stomach with. You should try Gulaschsuppe or every other goulash. It's tasty.
Oh, look at those hot dogs.
Right out tasty. So I hope you have a very nice celebration for New Year's, and I hope you're well, and bye-bye.
We are ending our New Year's bonanza with some goulash, which I have never had before, but it is full of hot dogs that got plumped up, and I am excited to dig in. That is delicious. That has so much flavor. There's so much depth of flavor, actually. You can taste the tomatoes and the beef stock and the beef that got put into it. You can honestly taste the medley of all the flavors. They've come together in a really spectacular way. Cooking that meat in the pressure cooker has made it so soft and tender. You can cook this on the stovetop, but it'll take a lot longer. And I am a big fan of a pressure cooker, so into the pressure cooker it went. Honestly, the hot dogs are one of my favorite parts. They are so yummy because they've absorbed so much flavor. Hot dog soup, have I ever had a hot dog soup? I don't feel like I have, but hot dogs in a soup are definitely one of my new favorite ways to eat a hot dog, and there are a lot of ways that I like to eat hot dogs. I love the idea of this. When you've been standing in the cold watching the fireworks, you come in to a hot bowl of goulash. What a special and just like heartwarming dish. I know that this is a little bit more soupy than the Hungarian style goulash, but I do like it as a soup. I just love the broth in it with all of the tomatoes. I think the beef stock and the tomatoes are doing a really nice job of complementing the potatoes and the beef and the onions. All of these are just so cozy. Oh yeah, and the peppers. For my first time making goulash, I think I've done a pretty good job because I am loving it. And I have leftovers, so this is definitely my dinner tonight. I hope you enjoyed this episode all about New Year's traditions. I'm leaving all the recipes in the description. Good luck with the pudding. If you've done it better than me, please send me a DM and let me know. I'm gonna leave the recipe anyway because maybe somebody out there is much better than I am at making it. Until 2025, I'm leaving you with 2 of my favorite episodes of the year, and I will see you all in the new year.